Have you seen the question paper or have you solved the question paper? There is no meaning of seeing the question paper. You have to solve it. First of all, question paper of UPSC is not something where your opinion is required. Fine, your opinion is not required. Only the proper analysis of the question paper is required. So if you're seeing the question paper, that is of no relevance, no meaning. See the question paper objectively. Fine. And I would like to prefer the discussion strictly on the basis of prospective discussion, like what we have to learn from this question paper, rather than what kind of the question paper was that, what will happen. I do not want to go in that part. I just want to make sure when you are going to appear in this question paper, it is going to be a win-win approach for you. You should clear the question paper. Fine. Even before this session, I have told multiple times, UPSC means catch me if you can. Fine. They are not having predictability ever. Fine. There is always an element of surprise. Fine. Sometimes that surprise is being there. Fine. You may predict to some extent, but majority of the time you cannot expect what predictability factor is there. Fine. One unpredictability factor is there with respect to difficulty level. Difficulty level. Fine. So with respect to difficulty level, I told this thing multiple times. Any question paper is of this. Fine. Some questions are going to be quite easy. Some questions are going to be easy to moderate. Some questions are going to be moderate. And some questions are difficult. And some questions are bouncer. Fine. And majority of the time when the public opinion is being created on UPSC question paper, that is based on this part. Basically, actually this part, the questions which are very difficult in the nature, majority of the opinion, what you are looking at various platforms, they are creating this opinion on this basis. And even some people are even abusing UPSC. How you can ask this? They have not told you, they have not been bound by a certain way only. Fine. If you are expecting there will be 24 questions in the prelims exam from polity, or at least 20 questions from polity, and they have asked only 4-5 questions from the polity, even 3-4 questions from the polity, that is their right. Wherever from the syllabus they can want to ask, they can ask. Fine. Then another question was कि ethics से question कैसे पूछ लिया? How you can ask the question from ethics? Where it is written they cannot ask the question from ethics? Have they mentioned that we will not ask the question from ethics? Have they mentioned? See, if you will see the UPSC notification, see the prelim syllabus. Fine. What they have defined in the prelim syllabus, it is always only indicative in the nature. Okay. So that might be question from this area, might be question from that area. Last year they have asked the question on numerical in economics. Fine. This year they have asked few questions from ethics. Fine. So these things are going to be always. How many questions they have asked from the ethics? 2 questions. Fine. What is usually expected cutoff for general category? 90 to 100. Fine. 100 is a higher side, 90 is a lower cutoff, but sometimes cutoff even go below to 90 only, 85, 87. Also, these are the cutoff. 87 is also cutoff, 84 can be cutoff. Fine. So the point is, those questions which are extremely difficult in the nature, they never decide the merit. The questions who decide the merit are these questions, which are easy to moderate, moderate to difficult question. Fine. So they always define the merit. So how many questions you can attempt in the exam? You can attempt somewhere around maximum to maximum 80 to 85 questions. Fine. If paper is difficult, you can attempt 80. If paper is Okay, 85. If paper is easy, 90. 90 means cutoff will be going there somewhere around 90 to 100. If you are able to attempt 85, I am taking general category cutoff as a benchmark. Okay, then cutoff will be somewhere around 85 to 95. Fine. And when question paper is difficult, might be cutoff is going to drop little bit. But that is going to be for everyone, not for only you. So they have not went for ki only D set was having 20 difficult question. Rest of the sets are having less difficult question. Difficulty level is for everyone. Fine. So rather than crying on the difficulty level, question paper was very difficult and it has created a lot of problem. So for what? It is going to be difficult for everyone. If it is going to be easy, then it is going to be easy for everyone. Our target in the exam should be somewhere around 80 to 85 questions. So from this prelims exam, how we can target our zone of 80-85 questions. If you will see historically UPSC question paper, polity, history, geography, economy. Fine. Economy, then environment. Fine. Environment, any other area? Science and technology, S&T. Fine. Any other area? Usually, if you'll see, international relations are almost ignored section in the prelims exam. Fine. If you'll see from 2020 onwards, they started asking one or two questions. Fine. Even earlier also one, two questions they are asking. From 2021 onwards, the question frequency increased to 3 to 4. And interestingly, because I have spent long time in the Delhi, right? So many of the teachers and institute, they run a specific course which is called as mapping course. Fine, mapping course. And in that mapping course, they are going to provide which location is in the news. And that course is basically course related to international relations things. Ki which area, which part of the world was in the news and for what reasons. Fine. And they usually claim that ki this mapping course is going to give you at least 10 to 15 questions. Fine. But on an average, 4 or 5 questions from international relations. Fine. So international relations. Fine. And then the biggest scam, that is current affairs. Fine. Why I'm using current affairs as the biggest scam? Because if question is from static portion, then it will be non-current affairs question. But if question is having 3 statement, out of 3 statement, 1 statement also related to what? 1 statement also related to the current development. So those teacher or those institute or those people who are teaching current affairs, they claim that somewhere around 70 to 80 questions are from only what? Current affairs. Like I have also claimed the question of history, and I also can say that ki Umesh sir also have taken claim of my question of Hilton and Young Commission. Fine. Everyone who is sitting in the class, I've attended the economics class and the monetary policy. I have explicitly mentioned about the Hilton Young Commission. Fine. But I can also admit honestly what I have taught in the class and maybe what sir have taught in the class, UPSC have rejected both of things and they have made the statement in the very distinct manner. They focus on what? They focus on the exchange value. Fine. So during the discussion, we have discussed that ki how Hilton Young Commission came to India, for what purpose? To adjust the issue of currency issuance and exchange rate value. Fine. So even if you do not have a specific idea about 1D6S ratio of exchange rate, fine, still you can attempt that question. Fine. So point is that question can be claimed in the history, that question can be claimed in the economics. I will be happy if my all of the questions is going to be claimed by anyone, but you are able to correct. I don't mind if someone is going to say that ki nahi, this question is from science and technology. I don't care. whether it is from science and technology, or it is from the history, or it is from the geography. If you are able to correct that question, I will be more happy. So my approach will be strictly how you can reach to that zone of 80 to 85 questions. How you can go to that zone. Fine. And now, because UPSC also asks some questions related to ethics. Fine. So I will put one more category here apart from current affairs. Category X. Fine. Any kind of the random question will be there. So this random question, I will maximum place how many questions? 5 questions. I will put it for there. Now, after this, I would not going to classify this number of the question will be from there, this number of the question will be from there, this number of the question will be from there. There is no need to do from here right now, because UPSC have shown this thing very clearly. 15 questions from international relations, 18 questions from economy, then good number of questions from science and technology. Fine. And I will prefer to remove this word science. I will only prefer the word technology. Fine. Because science is still having a limited domain. Technology do not have any line or domain. It can be at anywhere. Fine. So UPSC will prefer to ask questions on technology. They do not ask question on science. Fine. So you should not need to go for 11th and 12th class science book of physics, chemistry, and maths. Fine. Physics and chemistry and biology, specifically not maths, physics, chemistry, and biology book is not required. What you need to know, what is happening in the society right now. Fine. What is happening in the society? And see, entire world is fighting for the technology. The main race between US and China is about what? Technological superiority. Fine. China want to access the advanced technology in order to develop the more advanced technology, and US want to deny it. Fine. US want to deny it. So if you have the technological superiority, you can rule the world. That is very sure. Especially since 1950, we are seeing this. How US is able to dominate the entire world because of their technological superiority. Fine. Having a nuclear weapon is a one different thing. Fine. But nuclear weapon is not something which you are going to use on day-to-day basis. Fine. They are strategic weapons, and they are just to ensure your safety and security. Fine. So you have, that's fine. But if you'll overall see how US have dominated in the area of technology. And this is why China is also spending a huge amount of money to advance their technology. Billions of the dollars they are spending at their university, at their research centers, and different facilities. So world is racing for the technology. Even during the COVID, world have realized the role of technology. Who is going to develop vaccine first? Fine. Who is going to develop the vaccine first? But technology is not just related to who is going to develop the technology. After developing the technology, the mass production of the technology is also a matter. Case in point, vaccine. So when COVID vaccine was developed by Oxford, estrogen unit, fine. Then they need to mass produce it. And entire Western world do not have any facility to mass produce that vaccine at that level. So they contacted who? Serum Institute of India, Pune-based company. Fine. And then they went for mass production of estrogen vaccine. Fine. So supply chain is also a big role. So India is after China. China is a manufacturing hub of the world. So India is also aspiring to become a world leader. Fine. And for that, supply chain resilience. Fine. And then technological superiority. So maybe we are not able to be top, but still we can catch up. So if you see previous year's question paper, the role of the technology and supply chain, all these things, they are the limited scope. But this time they have too much emphasized on this portion. How India interact with the world. Fine. How we are focusing on the technology. Fine. So these are the two main highlights of this year's question paper. And in order to give the space, these two parts, they have put certain other areas sidelined. And this year, what is being sidelined? Polity is being sidelined. this is going to happen every year. Any area they are going to sideline in order to accommodate any other area. Fine. And current affairs is not something as a separate section. Current affairs is always integrated with these. So you can have this. Even certain history questions. Fine. Certain finding was being there. Certain things are in the news. They will connect with the history. Like some certain temple is in the news. Archaeological survey of India have found something new there. Fine. So that might be a question. So history even not immune with what? Current affairs. So in every section, you will find the current affairs. So rather than dealing current affairs as a separate area, you should always consider current affairs is deeply integrated with every area in the question. So question will be there. Two statements or three statements or even a single statement might be that question will be on geography, but completely related to what? Ongoing current affairs. Fine. So there is always a possibility. So we have to change our mindset. We have to change our approach. The first change in the mindset, you should be stop thinking in the stereotype manner. This number of the question from here, this number of question from here, this number of question from here. Question can be coming from anywhere. Fine. You have to read polity, history, geography, and economy. Fine. You have to read because they are pillar subject in order to understand. But considering the majority of the question paper from this area, you have to stop that thinking. And you know that despite I am emphasizing this thing, after 6 months, you are going to commit this mistake. You are definitely going to commit this mistake, knowingly or unknowingly. Why? You start solving the PYQs. And when you solve the PYQ, right now, these days, there are PYQ analysis provided the various publications. Fine, they provide. And they will provide you section wise. Fine. Section wise, these number of the questions are being asked in the polity. These number of the questions are being asked in the economy. This number of the questions in history section. So now these days, they are providing section wise. And when you see the section wise, so your approach will be go in that way only. History, this number of question, geography, this number of question, polity, this number of the question. Fine. And then what happened? You have created the mindset that this number of questions coming from where? History, this number of questions coming from geography, this number of questions are coming from polity. You have not solved the question paper year-wise. So when people will solve the question year-wise, then they realize that ki, Arey yaar, last question paper, the more question from the history. This year question paper, less question from the history. And more question from the geography. Next paper, you find. So that happens. Acha, even when students will go for open test, like free question paper, or you went for the test series at various coaching institute, so they are also compartmentalizing. Fine. Even if I'm going to put more questions from the economy, students will go and complain. What is this? Why you are asking 40 questions from economy? Or why you have not asked any question from the economy? So if I'm going to ignore some area, students will complain. Why you are ignoring that area? And if UPSC is going to ignore that area, no one will complain to UPSC. Why you can ignore? Why? Because UPSC is not going to listen to you. Fine. So first thing, stop having this compartmentalization of the syllabus in your mind. Do not have any compartmentalization. Question might be more from this area, more from that area. So having 20 questions from here, 15 questions from here, 10 number of questions from here, no. Your target should be what? 80 to 85 questions. Target is 80 to 85 questions, and I will pay attention to every area in utmost seriousness. If I'm doing the technological part, I will do that properly. If I will do the environment part, I will do it thoroughly and properly. Fine. So there is no need to compartmentalize yourself with this number of the question. Any number of the question can come from any area. Second thing, the role of the newspaper is completely redefined by the UPSC. Usually, when we suggest you read the newspaper, I always try to push you go for the holistic approach. Read the news, but try to read the context. Why that thing is in the news. Even on the prelims day, when I have discussed the economic question paper, even in their video, I have told it very specifically. Fine. Newspaper will give you an edge. So in your daily curriculum, at least 1.5 hours to 2 hours, you have to dedicate for only what? Newspaper. Fine. No excuse ki I am having this busy schedule or I am having that busy schedule. Newspaper daily 2 hours is required. And when you will read the newspaper with text and context both. Fine. Text and context. Text and context means what? Text and context means, I'll give the same example which I have given earlier also. Fine. The third corps of Indian Army. Fine. So third corps of Indian Army, everyone is shouting. Fine. ये तो NDA में भी नहीं पूछता है. They are even not going to ask such question in the NDA, and NDA students are not able to solve that question. Of course, they will not able to solve. But every time Siliguri exercise happening, and every time the Hindu, Indian Express, all the newspapers, they have published about the drill by Indian Air Force or Indian Army or Indian Navy. Indian Navy will not go to that area. Indian Air Force and Indian Army is going to do the multiple drills in that area. Fine. And even Indian Air Force is going to do the drill. They will do in the coordination with whom? Indian Army. Fine. And Indian armies, that corp is always going to be mentioned of the news. अगर आपको अभी भी trust नहीं है, you just Google it. Fine. Indian Army drill at where? Siliguri corridor. Any source you will see that, you will find the name of that corp. So you read that and you ignore that portion. Fine. You focus only on what? Siliguri corridor is called as chicken's neck. Fine. Its strategic significance. Fine. You ignore that that strategic significance is going to matter with who is responsible to protect it. Of course, Indian armed forces are responsible to protect it, but which specific portion of Indian armed force is responsible to protect it? Mission Sudarshan Chakra. I told this thing in the class. Even people criticize me, sir, from economics you are deviating. तो अब ले लो deviation. Fine. They ask a question. So deviation, आप जो deviation समझ रहे हो, what you are thinking it is a deviation. This is how UPSC is framing the question. Fine. So you should be aware of those things. So newspaper should be read with the context. And what is the context? This portion plus current affairs portion. Fine. How question can be framed from this article? In what way they can frame the question? So even the article is related to geography. If article is related to politics, Hormuz, fine. पूरा geopolitics चल रहा था, war, but question क्या आया? What the question they have asked? They ask which country is going to be more impacted. Fine. So question is on more impact, and impact is related to the war or impact related to the economy. Economic aspect. So Hormuz is in news because of oil. 20% of global oil supplies, 40% of this and that. But they have not asked the question in the India's context. They have asked the questions who are situated in that area. So they analyze the location and they frame the question not because of the location itself, the economic importance of the location for certain countries. Okay, so you have to understand text as well as the context of that news in order to read the newspaper. So when you are going to read the newspaper, make sure you are reading it thoroughly and properly. Fine. Now, the technology section. Fine. Which have created much havoc this time. Fine. People are not expecting that number of the questions will be asked from the technology area, and they have asked. Fine. So this is the new normal by the UPSC. Fine. Consider it as a new normal from the UPSC. Technological portion need to be addressed in more detailed and significant manner. They are going to ask this good number of the question from the technology. Even next time, they may restore the polity. They may ignore any other area. So they are going to ask the question from technology area. And technology area, whenever you are going to read about the technology area, what you have to be keep the thing in your mind is how this technology is going to impact India and how this technology is going to impact the world. Fine. So any technology which is going to impact India, any technology which is going to impact the entire world, you should understand what it is, why it is, and how it is. Know-how, what we say know-how. What just technology is, that is not enough. Why that technology? How that technology, and for what purpose that technology. All three aspects need to be covered when you are going to see any article related to which area? Technology. Fine. So, like, there is one website, Integrated Engineering. Fine. So integrated engineering, that site is not very popular in India, but that is a good website from where you can get multiple information about latest develop in the technology. Fine. So in the technological domain, what new things are happening, you just need to follow what is happening. Fine. So you'll get an idea ki, acha, these are the latest things happening in the field of technology. Okay. When that news, which was in that website, now it came into the newspaper. Now it become a more relevant from what exam? UPSC exam. Fine. So that is a magazine, means that is a website on which they are consistently reporting about different technologies, nuclear fission technology, fine, plasma reactor technology, fine, astronaut technology, military technology, all these things they are mentioning regularly. Fine, regularly they are mentioning. And sometimes that become more relevant, it will come into the newspaper. So I am suggesting you to follow that platform. Fine, like you are following some account. What is happening there? Just have an eye on it. And when something which was at that platform also came into the newspaper, that means it is an important thing to know what it is, why it is, how it works, and how it is going to benefit the society. So if its benefit to the society is large, more possibility of the question is there. If there is a technology but there is less relevance for the society, country, or the world, less likelihood of question is being asked. Fine. And again, you should go for all know-hows. They have asked the question, how many number of rare earths? Fine. I have created one community post. In that I have mentioned. तो अदर पर्सन आस्क मी कि सर इसका क्या जरूरत है, तो अब यूपीसी ने बता दिया सर क्या जरूरत है. फाइन, यूपीसी टोल्ड दैट कि दिस इज द रिक्वायरमेंट. सो माय सी, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट कि आई हैव दैट विजन और इनसाइट कि यूपीसी इज गोइंग टू आस्क. नो, I was not aware. My point was कि if someone want to know about the rare earth, so they should know that how many rare earths are there, how many of them they are there. Fine. If someone want to study about the critical mineral, so they must know why they are called as a critical minerals. How many are they? Where their supply chain is, where their production is. So you should complete know-how of that topic. Half-baked information is going to go more damage. And that is why current affairs is their favorite area. Fine. Because you are going to read monthly magazine in order to cover current affairs. Like if I will be like a Taliban, fine, those who are dictating new rules every day, this is not allowed, this is not allowed. First thing I'm going to ban is that is monthly magazine. Fine, monthly magazine ban करो, ठीक है, कोई नहीं पढ़ेगा monthly magazine, एकदम बकवास है, आप रिडक्शनिस्ट बन जाते हो. Fine. So there is a concept in philosophy and political science, reductionism. Fine. In simple word, oversimplification. So magazines are known for oversimplification by everyday newspaper of how many pages? How many pages are the newspaper? Minimum 14 page, minimum 14 page multiplied by 3. 14 multiplied by 3, 42. 420. 420 pages of the newspaper with the font size of 8. न्यूज़पेपर का जो फॉन्ट साइज होता है वो कितना होता है? 8 होता है. फाइन. एंड इफ यू सी द फॉन्ट साइज ऑफ द मैगजीन, 12. मैंने कॉपी पेस्ट करके देखा हुआ है इसलिए मैं बता रहा हूं आपको. सो मैगजीन का फॉन्ट साइज है 12 और 14. 12 and 14. How many pages? 100 to 120 pages. And that 10 pages of their advertisement. Dhamaka sale. Fine. This batch is going to start on that date. Fine. Our toppers. So 4-5 minimum pages of their information and advertisement about their coaching institute, of whom you are reading the monthly magazine. So content is of how many pages? Somewhere around 100 to 105 pages of content. 110 ले लेते हैं, 110 pages of content. And out of that 110 pages of the content, half of the page is filled by the diagrams. ठीक है, इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, क्या है? डायग्राम्स है. And one particular institution who is presenting less diagram, people are saying that कि सर वो बहुत बोरिंग है. मैं क्या है सर, वो बहुत बोरिंग है. तो मैंने फिर से पूछा व्हाट इज. नहीं सर कुछ नहीं. They realize कि I am precisely targeting. What do you mean by boring? Are you reading some information for entertainment? Fine. So graphics are being there for infotainment. जो वो बोलते हैं ना infographic है. Infographic आपको बनाना है. You have to make your own infographic by reading that thing. You should not rely on their infographic. They have set the infographic in order to fill that page. So on one page, only 3 information are being there because that is filled with infographics. That is garbage. 110 page should be full of information, and reading that. See, somewhere if you are going to make the student understand how cryogenic engine works, what is a cryogenic stage, and for that diagram you have mentioned, fine. अभी उन्होंने अभी क्वेश्चन पूछा था, fine. National critical mission, fine. Critical minerals mission. If you'll go to majority of the magazines, they have made an infographic of national critical mission. उसमें क्या डायग्राम का जरूरत है यार? कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं उसका डायग्राम का. आपको रीड करना है. You have to read that national critical mission, fine. Critical minerals mission, you have to read that, and after reading you have to make a flow chart in short. That is enough. ठीक है, you need not to go for too much infographics. You have to load yourself with the good amount of information which is going to explain all the dimensions of that particular news. Fine. So in this way, your reading of the newspaper should be comprehensive. Comprehensive reading of the newspaper. When I say comprehensive, it doesn't mean that ki there is a pothole in the Hyderabad and it is causing a problem for the commuters. वो read नहीं करना है. That is not comprehensive reading. Comprehensive reading means you have identified certain news in the newspaper which is relevant to polity, history, geography, economy, and all these things which I have mentioned here. Read those things thoroughly and properly. Read those things thoroughly and properly. And do not read the newspaper randomly. First, have the newspaper in your hand, identify the important news which you are going to read, and read those and read it thoroughly and properly. Fine. So if you will tick all those important news, there are somewhere around maximum to maximum 10 to 12 news which you need to read. And the least important is, all that news, least important is political. Least important is the newspaper editorial. Least important. आपके लिए वो least important है अभी. That is least important. And majority of the time, people will spend entire time reading in what? Editorial. Why? Because topper told that. Read the editorial. Read the editorial. So editorial is an opinion of an expert. And to understand the opinion of expert, you have knowledge of the basic fundamentals and good command on the basic fundamentals. So when you start reading the newspaper regularly for next 6 months, then you become capable of understanding in the editorial what they want to tell you. Majority of the people reading editorial section, if you'll ask them ki what you understood, they are never able to explain what they understood. And questions are basically framed not from the edit. कितने question है editorial से? How many questions they have framed from the editorial? Even in the mains. So editorial give you perspective about certain person's view on that topic. So if Hindu is writing editorial on the Hormuz, Hindu is trying to analyze the situation. For you, it is important ki what is Hormuz? what is happening there, how it is happening there, why it is happening there. If this will happen, then what will happen, how it is going to impact India's export, not only just import. Fine. I am not supposed to see how US is going to influence the entire region. फाइन, वो आपके मैटर के लिए नहीं है, दैट इज फॉर एक्सपर्ट्स. सो आई विल सजेस्ट कि भाई आप एडिटोरियल को लिस्ट इंपॉर्टेंस रखो एटलीस्ट फॉर नेक्स्ट 6 मंथ. कंप्लीट फोकस ऑन द न्यूज. आफ्टर 6 मंथ व्हेन यू विल गेन सम गुड understanding about basic knowledge and each and everything, you have built your base, then read one editorial. Or editorial is this only. On that editorial page, what they are writing here in this column, fine, and this is the expert's opinion. Even if you are going to ignore it, is fine. But other portion, all things related to governor's power or something happened with the prime minister's visit, fine, all these things need to be thoroughly done. That is more important rather than just focusing on editorial. So shall I completely reject the reading editorial? No. What I am suggesting you, change the priority. Opening the newspaper doesn't mean that ki first finish the editorial. If time will be left, then I will do other things. No, I will do other things first, where the informations are there related to international relations, information is there related to science and technology, information is there related to the polity, information is there what is happening in the states, information is there what is happening in the field of sports. Fine, I will read those things. Then I will go to what? Editorial at the end if I will have a time. Otherwise, editorial is not my priority as of right now. Once I will cover a substantial syllabus, fine. Those students who have already written prelims this time, fine, and they are doing the newspaper reading consciously, as I said here, they are doing the newspaper reading consciously for past 6 months, they can spend the time on what? Reading of the editorial. Those who just begin their journey for the civil services preparation, they should not waste their time on reading editorials. Fine. An editorial based question in the UPSC, mostly question is in the mains examination, not in the prelims examination. Prelims examination में editorial से related कोई question नहीं आएगा. And mains happens in the month of August. And what UPSC do? UPSC in the mains target from January onwards. So January to August. August, in fact, July. So January to July, or maximum to maximum what? October. October to July. This phase newspaper with editorial reading is enough. So editorial should be targeted from which month onwards? October month onwards, start having it. Even if you're not reading completely, just have an eye. Ki what topic is in the editorial? Acha, this topic is in the editorial. Fine. Criminalization of politics is in the editorial. So if criminalization of the politics is in the editorial, or how should India conduct a sports like F1 race? Fine. So what is F1 race? Is India is going to conduct? What is the way to conduct an F1 race in the world? Fine. Who is the highest authority to decide where the F1 race is going to be happen? Why it is called F1 race? Usko F1 क्यों बोलते हैं? And what are the other forms? F1 is there, F3 is there. Fine. Who are the main countries who involve in this race? Which are the companies who are involved in this process? So I will completely know how about F1. So if India is going to have this F1 race, might be this year or next year, India is going to be on track of the F1 race again. India have conducted almost more than 10 years back. Fine, India have conducted the F1 race. Again, India is going to be in the F1 circuit. Fine. Question वहां पे ये भी हो सकता है कि why F1 race is being exited from the India. So F1 is again going to be introduced in India, but in the past, why F1 race was exited from India? Anyone know the reason? Taxation issue. Payment of taxation. Fine. So taxation was an issue. So F1 is what? Why it is called F1? Fine. Who control that authority? Means F1 authority is there. Where? Which country? Fine. What are the companies? Who are the main drivers? All these things you need to know about the F1. So half-baked knowledge is not going to serve you. You should completely know how about F1 race. When it is going to conducted, at where it is going to be conducted, fine, that is not enough. You should completely know how technological aspect, economic aspect, sports spirit aspect, fine, all these aspects need to be explored. So this is what change you have to made. Means all your classes of the subjects you are doing, do it, but deep integration of current affairs from monthly magazine or newspaper. So my message to all of you who are going to prepare for 27 or 28 or 29, or those who are kids, fine, and they are planning to write in 2030 or 31, fine, doesn't matter. You have to make sure whatever you are reading, understanding through books and lectures that need a deep integration. I'm not saying integration. In the earlier classes before this year's exam, I used the word integration, but now I'm using the word deep integration. Rather than AI, it is DI. DI is required with every section what you are reading. Fine. Polity, history, geography, economy, history to a certain extent, less integration will be there, but for other subject, deep integration is required. When I say deep integration, you should know how about that area. For example, I have given the F1 example. Economic aspect, technological aspect, governance aspect, taxation aspect, all the aspect related to F1, you should aware of it. So if you will follow that approach, then what will happen, I'll let you know. Initially, what will happen? Initially, you will get bored. Fine. You will feel problem. So when people join the Indian Armed Forces, fine, or any armed forces in the world, so every armed forces have one special unit that is called their special unit or commando unit. So usually like normal soldiers, then commando, then elite forces. That is a kind of a hierarchy. So when you join the armed forces, then they will ask you, are you interested to be the part of commando unit? So आपने लिख दिया yes, भारत माता की जय. You are highly inspired by this motivation, but they will check. Fine, they will check whether you are capable or not, and they will give you the endurance test. And in that endurance test, first endurance test is going to be a fatigue. Fine, and the fatigue is going to be given by sleep deprivation. Fine, 72 hours of sleep deprivation. ठीक है, 72 आवर्स का स्लीप डेप्रिवेशन होता है वहां पर. सो आफ्टर दैट स्लीप डेप्रिवेशन, फूड डेप्रिवेशन. फाइन, फूड नहीं होगा आपको. ठीक है. ड्रिंकिंग वाटर, यू हैव टू ड्रिंक द ड्रेन वाटर. जो ड्रेन का स्मेली वाटर है वो आपको ड्रिंक करना पड़ेगा. सो दे गो फॉर द फेटिक टेस्ट. एंड देन फॉर एग्जाम्पल स्पेशल फोर्सेस इन इंडिया, दैट इज रेड बैज. कौन से फोर्सेस का रेड बैज है? पैराएसएफ. सो पैराएसएफ का बैज आप देखोगे ना, बलिदान बैज बोलते हैं इसको, पैराएसएफ का. तो पैराएसएफ का जो आप कमांडो बने, कमांडो से फिर आपको एक ऑफर मिलेगा कि इफ यू वांट टू जॉइन द पैराएसएफ, पैरा स्पेशल फोर्सेस, सो द elite commando force of India, पैराएसएफ, in that they will give you 100 किलोमीटर रनिंग. 100 किलोमीटर का रन होता है. एंड व्हेन यू विल रन ना, जॉग करना है आपको. ठीक है, बीच बीच बोलेंगे रहन दो, इनफ, कम ऑन दिस जीप, सिट हियर. आपको बोलेगा नहीं रहने दो, कोई बात नहीं, छोड़ दो. दे विल ऑफर यू, नहीं नहीं नहीं, नॉट रिक्वायर्ड, छोड़ दो. यू हैव टू गो फॉर व्हाट? 100 किलोमीटर. 100 किलोमीटर आपको वॉक करना है, जॉग करके कंप्लीट करना है. फाइन, सम रेस्ट यू कैन टेक. 100 किलोमीटर सुन के क्या लग रहा है? आफ्टर लिस्टिंग 100 किलोमीटर यू आर हैविंग अ बटरफ्लाई इन द स्टमक. बट थिंग इज, वंस यू विल क्रॉस 100 kilometer and tomorrow it is required to walk 200 kilometers, you can do that. So remember that any hard work which will start, people start with high enthusiasm and after that it will drop. Like these days social media, some person become very popular, after 2-3 months what happened? Suddenly it will drop because you are being motivated. So motivation will work for only some time. So motivation is nothing but a dopamine. ठीक है, तो माइंड को स्टिमुलस मिल रहा है एंड माइंड इज गोइंग टू बी देयर. सो मोटिवेशन इज डोपामीन. but consistency is the way to success. So आपको consistent रहना है. Many times you will find that कि there are the other ways through which I can do it easily. But remember that the deep integration with the newspaper of current affairs with your subject. So my main subjects, fine, history, geography, polity, economy, all these subjects, fine. So subject plus current affairs, deep integration via newspaper. This is going to be your success formula, and it is very difficult. It is not easy. It takes toll. You have to be very consistent every day. 2.5 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, आपका time जाएगा. 2 hours of newspaper, 2 hours of that particular subject, 4 hours you have to do, and you have to write in the short notes in the paper on daily basis. It is going to take your time. And at a point of time, you feel that it is not working. It is not working for me. I got a moment. After 1.5 months, you will come to that point because the rest of the people are reading from the Telegram or doing the monthly magazine or 365, Chicken 65. All these things are going to be read by people, and they will be going to show you how I am able to do that thing in the more efficient manner than you. तो वहां पे आपको अपना नर्व होल्ड करना पड़ेगा. You have to hold your nerve and consistently do that thing. If you will cross October through this work, fine, then you are now smooth sail. अभी आपको प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा. अक्टूबर ऑनवर्ड्स प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा. Why? Because majority of the thing now you are going to see from October onwards. These are those things which you have already completed in June, July, August, September, and October. So November onwards, November month onwards, you will find that majority of the things you have did in the past 6 months, they started getting repeating. And when you see something we have already done and you have notes, you will be visibly happy. And then you will realize that कि my hard work started paying. तो आपको 6 month के बाद डिविडेंड मिलना शुरू होगा. ठीक है, बट 6 month तक विदाउट एनी होप, विदाउट एनी एक्सपेक्टेशन, डेली 2 to 3 page of A4 sheet you have to fill by this. Daily 2 to 3 page. ठीक है, then from October, November onwards you will be on right course of action with a good confidence. तो मेरा आपसे सिर्फ यही, this is my only humble appeal to you. Do not fall in such things कि paper was this, paper was that, paper was easy, paper was difficult. Every question paper is having only one objective. That is 82, 85 question I will attempt. And as number of questions you are going to attempt with solid knowledge, the more number of chance to be get selected is there. Less number of the question, fine, less chance. But these questions attempt is based on at least, see, if I want to attempt, first thing how I will attempt, I know the options and I will check all those options and I will find the answer. This is called attempt. I know the exact answer, that is attempt. I know the topic and I'm able to eliminate 2 options and I'm confused in 2 options. That is also called an attempt. And if you saw the question and you did akkad bakkad bambe bol, fine, fine. You did this thing, 4 options, you are able to eliminate 1 option and you are taking a chance in 3 remaining options. That is not called attempt, that is called foolishness. Fine, that is specifically called foolishness. उसको बोलते हैं गधा. फाइन, तो आप लिखवा रहे हो यहां पे कि मैं गधा हूं, ठीक है, तो उसको अटेम्प्ट नहीं कहते हैं. दैट इज नॉट कॉल्ड अटेम्प्ट. अटेम्प्ट in the worst case attempt means you are able to eliminate 2 options. If you are not able to eliminate 2 options, fine, it is not an attempt, it is a foolishness. Fine. So have you understood what I mean by attempt? What should be our target? 80 to 85 question. And for that, I should be selective or I should go thoroughly with every subject. Thoroughly go to every subject. Shall I prefer any subject over other subject? No. But what are the pillar subjects? History, geography, polity, economy in order to understand other subjects. Fine. So I will not go for cherry picking. I will take all the subjects equally, especially after 2026 prelims exam. इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस वाले बोल रहे थे और बोलो आप बताओ ठीक है 4 क्वेश्चंस 15 क्वेश्चंस आई एम डिसाइडिंग प्रीलिम्स सिलेक्शन फाइन आई एम डिसाइडिंग द प्रीलिम सिलेक्शन साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी वाले वो भी थोड़ा अंडर प्रेशर रहते थे दे आर ऑल्सो अंडर प्रेशर 4 5 क्वेश्चन 6 7 क्वेश्चन बहुत इंथुजियाज्म में बोल दिया क्लास में 10 क्वेश्चन आर बीइंग आस्क्ड तो किसी ने बोला सर कम कर लो ठीक है at our time like we do this thing in the face of the teacher ने बोला कि there will be 10 to 15 questions from the science and technology मैंने कहा झूठ बोल रहे हो फाइन 7 to 8 क्वेश्चंस आते हैं पूरे प्रीवियस ईयर का क्वेश्चन पेपर का एनालिसिस ये रखा है दिस इज द एनालिसिस ऑफ द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन पेपर तो ही वाज लाइक कि when it will come na then you will realize he told in the class fine he told in the class then that time that not happened now it is happening fine anyways like I should not give a preference to any particular area I'll go to equally to every subject I will this going to have my base on history geography polity economy and I will deeply integrate with the newspaper for my current affairs association with the subject these things you have to follow fine so I'm going to wind up my part here